about the Finance Act 2020, what are the key highlights and why it has been passed? Now, this has been passed by Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and finally became an act. The idea is it came into force from 1st April 2020. There are major 104 amendments which are part of this Finance Act, of which we would focus on some of the most important ones that have been introduced. Now, the new law brings into certain changes in terms of the tax residency policies for NRIs or the non-resident Indians. Now, what is this policy? Previously, there was 182 days spent or more would be considered for a tax liability. However, this has been reduced to 120 days, and also in this case, we have seen that the income should be more than Indian rupees 1.5 million. So that is one of the basic criterias that have been changed. Now, the new law also talks about the provisions that the Indian citizens would be considered resident if the person is not liable for taxation in any other country with a total income exceeding Indian rupees 1.5 million during the tax year. So that is again one of the major changes in the tax rule. The next is waivers for startups. Now, previously it was 3 years out of 7 years, which has been increased for 3 years out of 10 years. So there are more waivers being given to startups. Also, the threshold for the turnover has been increased from 250 million to 1 billion. So again, one of the major developments in this segment. The next is abolition of dividend distribution tax. Now, the dividend income would be taxable at the end of the receipt, and it would be 10% for Indian stakeholders and 20% for foreign nationals, foreign investors basically. Now, what is the benefit of this? This amendment would benefit the companies, let's say, having Singapore based holding. Now, what is the idea? Singapore is one of the countries which basically provides low tax rate, double taxation regulations, and has a lot of relief for the people there. So as a result, you have more companies moving into Singapore as their offices. So this would basically bring in major changes, and we could have an attractive venture for, let's say, the Singapore holding company structures that could be there. Now, as a result, the changes would be very deep, in the sense that they would impact the economy not only locally but globally. The next is the Hindu undivided families, the HUF concession. Now, the HUF concession has increased for the changes have been seen nearly 10 to 5%. So in the major slabs, you can see there is around 10% change. In some of the cases, there are 5% change. So every alternate slab, as you can remember, would have a 10% change, and then you would have a 5% for every alternate slab. So here is the income tax slab that has been there. The next is equalization levy. Now, this has been charged by India since 2016 at 2% of the funds received by an operator, mainly providing services for Indian residents. Now, who is an operator? An e-commerce operator is a non-resident who owns, operates and manages electronic facilities and platforms for online sale of goods. So, he is non-resident who is doing so, and therefore he has been called as an e-commerce operator. So that is one of the major things. Now, this act has extended the scope to cover the considerations which have been received for online sale of goods being owned by the e-commerce operator, online provision for services being provided by the e-commerce operator. So it's applicable to goods, it's applicable to services, and then both goods and services, where you have a amalgamation of goods and services. The next is the changes for the corporate tax for domestic companies. Now, domestic companies, we need to understand there is a 22% rate plus 10% surcharge and 4% cess, which makes an effective rate of nearly 25. Now, the main condition is that such companies should not claim any exemption under the income tax provision. Now, what kind of exemptions? This could be deduction for establishment or availability of units, additional depreciation if asked for any, then deductions for manufacturing companies like tea, rubber, coffee, deductions for deposit for restoration of a site or for expenditures going into scientific research. So those are the criteria that have been taken strictly into consideration. The next is corporate tax for new manufacturing companies. This is 15% plus 10% surcharge and 4% cess, bringing an effective rate of 17%. A domestic company is entitled for low corporate tax if the conditions are satisfied, which includes the establishment period from October 2019 to March 2023. So that is the period. If the industry is being, if the corporate unit is being established in this duration, then you would have a reduced tax that you would have to bear. Also, it could be related to manufacturing of any article, anything. It could not be considered as either splitting off or formation of an existing unit or a business. So I cannot say that this is my existing business, I split into two and then I claim a new lower tax. No, that won't be possible. Also, any of the previous machineries or equipments cannot be exploited for availing this lower tax regime. So those are some of the major changes that we need to understand for the Finance Act 2020. The key highlights of the Finance Act 2020 we have covered. We would be covering many important bills and acts being released by the government for the year 2019 and 20. Very important for your examination as well as your current affairs contemporary section. Stay tuned for many more updates from our side. Have a wonderful day ahead.